We're live, baby. Instagram Live. What's going on with this? How is this working? There we go. Okay, we are live on Instagram. Let me get my neck. We got another few minutes of the song before we start. Everybody dance. Get some water too. We jamming. Here's my friend. They're making a lot of noise. See it? The mouth. Oh, it's so smelly and stressful. Dancing in the mouth. I'm gonna let him free in the woods. How's that for an intro? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Josh Mason of the Detox Dudes. Today, on this episode, we will discuss. I don't know what we'll discuss. Microdosing psilocybin, huh? Can't get that song out of my head. Oh, we got people wanting to go live with me. I don't know about that. The mouse, I have mice hanging in the back of my oven, so I put out a little trap where there's avocado in there, and then they step into it, and it locks them up, but it doesn't hurt them or kill them at all. All right, let's tune in, see what we can talk about. See how long I have here to jam with you guys. All right. And everybody breathe with me, all right? Feet on the floor, spine straight. Witnessing the breath coming in and out of the nostrils. Okay, everybody follow along. Don't just watch me, follow me. Do this. You lazy bums, you. All right, ready? We're gonna start with an out breath. Deep breath in as deep as you can. Hold it. Letting it go with all the stress and tension, letting it go. At the bottom, we're going to hold it again. After all the out breath, hold it. In again, deep into the heart. Hold it. Letting it go. Hold it once more at the bottom. Get all the air out. Last one in. Hold it for 10 seconds. Letting it out with a sigh. We got my mom on the show. What's up, Mom? Holly Go Lightly, you want to come on the video? What do you want to chat about? Why don't I post YouTube videos with your health hacks anymore? I still do. Profound breathing technique. It's interesting you ask that because I do want to dive deeper into breathing. And particularly, I want to start doing free diving. But I'm going to do a series of Niraj Naik's Soma breath work. I'm going to start doing that every single day because I haven't been doing breath work. I've just been doing, witnessing. But with all this stagnancy, it's so important to move the breath. All right. Let's see what we can talk about. suppose I can just answer these questions for now until something better comes. All right, so we got microdosing psilocybin. I don't think that hallucinogens are a great move. I think they're good for a certain phase. I think they help people awaken. I think they help activate things inside of people. But once you get the message, hang up the phone. And microdosing, you're not really getting high, but you're just kind of expanding your consciousness with a chemical, which is fine for a phase, right? But as soon as you rely on that microdosing, or as soon as you rely on a hallucinogen in order to have awakened consciousness or have expanded consciousness or to come out of your own internal gymnastics, then you're kind of losing if you're relying on something. The magic is building your own pipeline to spirit through practices, through meditation, through breath work, through diet, through cultivation. And so does it have its place? For sure. Is it a tool that should be used for the long term? No way, in my opinion. No way. So I love the question, do you still do BJJ? A lot of people ask me, and it's a bit of a sad answer. So no, I don't, and I can't. Okay, so there's starting in 2013 when I had my breakdown, okay, my body and my mind broke down, right? Totally broke down. Lyme disease, mercury poisoning, all kinds of issues. And all that I was in that body of being a tight fighter, like a tight wound up spring, I was like a spring that had so much potential physical life force, right? And all of that began to unravel. And as we see through stories and mythological journeys and archetypes, a man can move through many different archetypes throughout his lifetime, right? So in a sense, I sort of mastered, I wasn't a master, I was very good, fighting, right? Warrior sort of fighter archetype. I had it down pat, right? The thing is that at a certain point, when the warrior archetype owns you, then you're no longer in an ocean, you're in a small pond, right? So if you look at jiu-jitsu people, and this is not a judgment, but just an observation, jiu-jitsu becomes life, okay? So BJJ becomes life for people, and their world relies on BJJ. So their world relies on if they're winning, if they're losing, how their training's going, and it just consumes their world. Now, this is a really good thing. It's really healthy to be consumed by something, right? But when the thing that you're consumed by ends up consuming you, and you're crystallized in this sort of pathway or in this way of being, then you're a large fish in a small pond, right? Versus going into the big ocean. Why do I say that? Well, because jiu-jitsu is only one facet of life. Fighting is only one facet of life. It boggles my mind. Like, don't understand it. Maybe someone can help me understand. Do I helpful? Am I like, I don't know, am I a good man or something? People tell me I'm their idol. I just don't understand. I'm literally just a dude who babbles on YouTube. But all right, I'll take it. Shirtless, by the way. I babble shirtless on YouTube. I guess the real question in there for me, thank you. Thanks, Mom. My mom says I'm her idol too. I guess what I'm trying to understand is like, I'm trying to understand how I'm an idol for others, right? Because I'm not a millionaire, I'm not a celebrity, I'm not super well known. I'm just someone who speaks my heart, right? And I guess the world is moving into a place where someone who speaks their heart and who has wisdom to a certain degree is able to be an idol for others. I think that's a good thing, actually. I'm just used to people, idolizing celebrities and shit like that. So maybe a lot of you have also gone through suffering, deep suffering. And anyway. Hey, bro, watch your video for 2 seconds, and I noticed with the buffer rate had a streaming issue, and it's because of your chat menu. Take it down. No, the chat is the best thing. Can someone tell me if my YouTube thing is clear? Are we clear here? Someone just complained about it. Let me know if you can hear me and see me clearly. Oh, by the way, holy shit. Guys, I have this epic $500 microphone that I bought last year that I would love to plug in. I'll do it on the next YouTube live. Or if you hang with me, the audio is good. Okay, my next YouTube live, I'm going to plug in that microphone. It's going to be dope. I'm going to set it up right here where the microphone is like right here in front of my face. And I should do it now, right? I'm going to lose you. Some people are going to lose interest in the 1 minute that I go away. We'll lose some viewers. What do you guys think? If I get 3 people tell me that they want the new microphone, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking about jiu-jitsu. What's up? What's up? What's up? Oh, my aunt here. My aunt is here. My mom is here. All right, this mic is fine. Okay, great. All right, I'm coming to Miami, Aunt Shelly, in a week. So let's chat. Okay, so what I wanted to say about jiu-jitsu is that a lot of jiu-jitsu people, they comment and say, how come you're not training jiu-jitsu, right? And the truth is that when someone gets crystallized into the jiu-jitsu world, it takes over their life and it becomes their life. But what people fail to realize is that at a certain point, their body's going to break down. At a certain point, they may lose interest in jiu-jitsu. At a certain point, they may need to make more money or need to make things happen or need a different or be pushed in a different direction other than jiu-jitsu, right? So jiu-jitsu as a hobby is amazing. However, and this is just a long jiu-jitsu rant, okay? Jiu-jitsu is very, very detrimental to certain facets of health, okay? To go through a phase of jiu-jitsu is amazing. You learn how to fight. You learn something deep within your animal body on how to defend yourself. You become confident. It changes the way you live and breathe and the way you be in the world, right? The thing about jiu-jitsu is that the constant chronic damage to the neck, the ligaments in the neck, the lymphatic system, the shoulders, the knees, the hips, the sacroiliac joint is very detrimental in the long run. Now, people can do it for long periods of time, but eventually something will give. Eventually, they will live in chronic pain for many years, unless they spend a lot of time rehabbing during and after the sport, right? So during the years that they train and then during the years after. It's obviously there's a way to do it correctly, right? But there's a problem with the stream? What the heck? Guys, is anyone else having a problem with the YouTube stream? All right, maybe it's just her computer. Okay. So jiu-jitsu, now that I know about health and know about how much I've had to reverse from jiu-jitsu, including 45 hyperbaric oxygen treatments and all of the different stretches and yogas and postures and all of the different opening exercises that I've had to do, you can see my body is very open now, right? When I was into jiu-jitsu, everything was tight, rugged, coarse, and closed, right? My energy was actually even though my body didn't look like this, everything was very closed. And then I've had to spend time to open it up to balance from all of the jiu-jitsu and all of the fighting. So essentially, what you can become lost in jiu-jitsu in that it becomes something that becomes your whole world, and then it owns you. But again, life is way more complex and way more vast than just jiu-jitsu. It's kind of like getting a tattoo. You get a tattoo at the age of 18, you don't realize how many deaths you could go through by the time you're 25, 30, 40. And that tattoo literally becomes like, why did I get this? Like, why would I want this thing imprinted on my body for the rest of my life? And that's the essence of what I'm talking about. Change, death and change. Essentially, what I went through was a full death of that character, the fighter character, and I moved into more of a healer archetype, right? So I had the fighter archetype, the warrior fighter, battling in jiu-jitsu, and I had that archetype, and I had it understood very, very well and crystallized and a lot of wisdom there. And then as I got sick, it all had to deconstruct, and I started to move into healer. So I learned how to fight, and then I learned how to heal. And the same energy that we use to kill and fight is the same energy that we use to heal, right? It's the same energy, this life force, this potential of energy underneath, right? So to answer a simple question was, do I still train BJJ? The answer is no, and I want to, and I literally can't. I literally cannot train jiu-jitsu. My sacroiliac joint, I've spent 2.5 years healing. I spent $50,000 healing. To train jiu-jitsu and risk injuring this sacroiliac joint for the pleasures of getting a good roll in is so foolish. I've spent so long healing this, right? And furthermore, I spend so much time on opening my body and opening my lymphatic channels and all of this stuff. Jiu-jitsu is going to tighten and close all of that. So the honest answer is, I wish I could. I really, really wish I could train jiu-jitsu as a hobby. But my body and my spirit and my trajectory is so deep in the healing arts right now for this phase. Jiu-jitsu and wrestling was 10 years. Now I've already been 7 years in the healing game. Maybe it'll be another 3, and then I'll move on to another archetype, right? Maybe then I'll be a father, It's like 10 years a warrior, 10 years a healer, 10 years a father. I don't know. But the thing is that I can't, and that's the sad part about it. I want to, and I can't. Maybe one would label this as that I'm not healthy enough to train jiu-jitsu. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's true. But I spend so much life force on my mind and my body and just feeling decent and feeling good that I can't risk it, and that's the tragedy in the, being a wounded healer, so to speak. The level of collateral damage that I've gone through, like, I guess this part of what I'm about to say is really for me and not really for you, and really has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. But to understand what I went through for many, many years, for the 4 years, and then even for years after that, and to some degree still do go through, pain and issues, that level of destruction and damage and torture and pain, it leaves collateral damage. Is that the word? Where collateral damage is like basically the residual damage. Like I work so hard to basically just be as healthy as someone who like drinks soda and eats pizza and trains jiu-jitsu. Like we probably feel equal in our bodies, and I work really, really hard to make it happen. I think it's a complex issue because that individual is going to be really closed spiritually and emotionally and have all kinds of repressed issues. And I'm obviously in a way better space of consciousness, but I would just say that, that I work really hard to feel a way that probably a lot of people already feel naturally, especially people in Norway and Denmark and the Nordic countries who are incredibly healthy and have very, very low rates of chronic illness and have really incredibly low toxic upbringings, right? They grow on, they live on farms, and they live on, and they just don't grow up with McDonald's in this way that we have, right? So what I'm trying to say is that I work incredibly hard to basically get myself to a place that a lot of other people in the world could be at organically by simply having a different soul's journey and soul's purpose, by simply having an easier trajectory, right? So all of that is to say that, all of that is to say that jiu-jitsu is out of the cards for me. Okay. Jiu-jitsu is out of the cards for me. It's so there's another point coming through here strongly. I just need to find it. I lost it. So the tragedy there is that when going through such a severe illness that I did, it takes a long time to put the pieces of the puzzle back together. It takes a long time, right? I still have deep wounds. I still am putting the pieces together. I still am healing, right? And that's a reality that I have to accept, right? To fight against that is a loser's proposition. But of course, with every tragedy is a gift. And the gift there is that I am so in tune with the healing arts. I'm so in tune with others who are in pain. I know exactly what someone else needs on an emotional level, on a physical level, on a spiritual level. Obviously not exactly, but I know very well when a client comes to me what they need, right? I relate very well to people who are suffering in any capacity, physically. Exactly. My mom says it best. You'll always keep healing. It never ends. It doesn't end. It does not end, right? My mom is here on the Instagram live. So let me shut this space heater. Hold on. So essentially, the gifts in being devoted to healing are that it helps humanity, right? It helps humanity, and it's uplifting to humanity. It's what we all need. Okay. No, Matteo Giovanni, it doesn't ruin anything of the door jam. No, it's fine. The pull-up bar. So, so in any case, the long-winded answer to your question is I don't train jiu-jitsu. My body can't handle it. I wish I could. I really wish I could. Maybe in 5 years I'll be able to do it again, but I've gone through so much with severe back injury, severe sacroiliac joint injury, total destruction of my brain for 4 years, severe mental illness, severe depression, panic attacks, imagine just a bomb going off in someone's body and somehow they put all the pieces back together over the next 7 years. That's me, right? So I can't train jiu-jitsu. I wish I could. My body is devoted to healing, and jiu-jitsu breaks things down, and I'm devoted to opening and clearing and healing tissues, healing my DNA, healing my cells. Jiu-jitsu is a very catabolic experience. You may build muscle, but on a cellular level, you're creating a lot of waste on a cellular, on ligaments, joints. Everything is being micro tears every single minute of training. Your joints, your ligaments, all of the lymphatic region, people are grabbing on it, pulling it on it. your brain is getting hit, all the micro trauma to the brain. It's not a way. It has destructive. It has destructive properties to it, unfortunately. Okay. All right, guys. I was just going to speak about Joe Rogan. Bernardo. So Rogan obviously trains all the time, right? I do believe he's on testosterone. I do believe he does a lot for his body in order to mitigate the damage of what he's doing in jiu-jitsu. I would say I think Joe Rogan's great, but even when you tune into his energy, see what happens is this region, the neck, if you tune into guys who've been fighting for a long time, everything gets inflamed and swollen and red. And this region is so beat up that the lymphatic system is not functioning properly. And all of this is so tight that you can actually see it in someone's energy when they're, what years and years and years of fighting does to their face, to their, all right, Juicy Lips, I gotta ban you from the channel because you're saying all kinds of naughty things. How do I ban them? Hide user. Great. You're gone. Yeah, I'm hiding you. So my honest answer on Joe Rogan is that his vibration is he's an amazing connector. He is brilliant. He's very fair. I'd love to have a conversation with him. Obviously, he probably would think a lot of what I had to say is a bunch of bullshit, but the energy of Joe Rogan is very yang, very out of balance, very, very yang, and you can see it in he's overly hot. Oh my God, these people. So anyway, Rogan, right? You can see he's overly so much heat. He's always red, right? And so essentially, what it is just chronic damage. Now, he's his genetics are amazing. The way he builds his body are amazing. The way that he's how much he works on himself, so he's able to get it done. The truth about Rogan is, though, he's never had like chronic illness. He's never had Lyme disease. He's never had metal poisoning. His body is never completely shut down. So he's able to stay okay, and he's able to stay good and clear, living that type of lifestyle where he's chronically damaging himself. But eventually, I do believe it will give, right? Eventually, at a certain point, people can only train jiu-jitsu for so long. I mean, look at Rickson Gracie. The guy literally has like 10 herniated discs, right? So, but what it comes down to is just a value system. Nothing is right or wrong. What do you value, right? If you value training jiu-jitsu and the well-being you receive mentally from that training, then you'll train until you die, okay? You'll train until you die because it's what you value. If you value longevity, or if you value peak spiritual consciousness, then you're not going to do things to destroy and hurt your body, right? So again, what I'm saying here is that Rogan is a perfect example of someone who's never had to leave the warrior archetype, right? He's never had to leave the warrior fighter archetype. His body is able to stay in that archetype, and that's fine. And different people have different paths, right? Well, Alex Jones, I mean, look at Alex Jones, right? It's what is his aura? Well, young, overly hot, okay, way too much heat, okay, and obviously out of balance. I'm sure he knows a lot of truths, but it's a black hole, right? So anything that takes us into those realms of conspiracy 24/7 is a black hole, and it leaves us unstable. What do I mean by that? Well, we can only tune into and explore things that we have control over. It's like, why are we going to put all of our energy into exploring this truth of what's happening if we can't actually tangibly control it? Now, for a point in time, if we step out of our normal constructive way of being and want to tune into those sort of things, we do it in a right? So we take a moment in time and we're like, okay, let's take a pause. Let's pontificate for a moment. And we'll pontificate and we'll be like, okay, well, the dark and the light and this and that and this and that and this and that. And then, okay, let's come back to reality here. Let's make sure we're drinking our green juices, make sure we're loving ourselves, make sure we're putting our money into Bitcoin, make sure we're getting land on a farm, make sure you're loving your loved ones, and blah, 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 blah. And okay, we're controlling what we can control, right? We're working on what we can work on here as a human being, right? And then again, oh, wait, let's pause for a moment. Let's pontificate. Okay, the dark and the light and the chemtrails and this and that and this and that and this and that. All right, let's close that up and come back to life. Okay, if you don't have access to that versatility, then you're going to get lost in that rabbit hole, and that's going to be your truth, and that's going to be your life, and you're going to be doing your life basically in this rainstorm 24/7, right? You're going to be secretly, subconsciously fighting all of these facts that Alex Jones talks about on a daily basis, and then you're stressed, and then you can't heal, and then you're just going to manifest, and you're going to be part of the humanity that manifests that very reality, right? Because whatever we're envisioning, right? Whatever we're envisioning is essentially what will happen. This life is a collective imagination. Whatever the collective is imagining on average is what's happening. So we die at 80 and 90 because the collective agrees to die at 80 and 90. Okay. So most people think that, yeah, you're supposed to get dementia at 80. Well, because most people think it's true, right? However, if it ever became a point in time where our collective consent changed, where all of a sudden the collective said, no, I'm not dying at 80 and 90. I choose to live to 150. And then John, his neighbor, says, yeah, you're right. I'm going to fucking live to 152. And then John's mom, Linda, says, yeah, I'm going to live to 152. And every single person is just like, humans live to 150. We would actually be able to do it. This is what I believe, right? We would actually be able to live to 150 if the consent changed. It's all consent. Okay. So what's up, guys? What's up? A lot of people commenting. All right. So the collective everything is on a consent basis, right? Everything is on a consent basis. Now, of course, there are some earthly laws that we probably couldn't change with consent alone, but a lot of them we could. So again, what I'm talking about is if you get lost, talking about Alex Jones, if you get lost in that world, in that space of consciousness that he brings, it's going to be destructive to your spirit and to your well-being. The space of consciousness that someone brings is as important, if not more important, than the facts that they're saying. So if you ever watch a YouTube video, you can listen to the information, to the data, okay? There's data that's coming, or you can feel the source of the data, okay? So there's data and there's information, right? I'm Josh and I'm telling you words right now. And if you were only to listen to my words from your mind, you would just take the information in, right? And it would just be like, well, Josh said this, Josh said that. But there's also a space of consciousness that each person brings, okay? There's a space of consciousness. Now that space you can't really experience from the mind. It needs to be experienced from your body, okay? And the space of consciousness you can feel in your body. Is it an uplifting? Does it feel like he's talking down to me? Do I feel small? Do I feel tight? Do I feel nauseous? Do I feel anxious? what do you get from my space, right? And that each person is going to get something different, right? But you're going to receive information on a deeper level than the words from my space of consciousness, okay? And the space of consciousness has to be sustainable for you to continue learning from a particular teacher. Alex Jones's space of consciousness is very, very abrasive. Each time I'm in that space, I feel unwell. I feel, and this isn't a rip on Alex Jones because the guy's awesome, right? I actually like the guy. It's just a spiritual way of putting spiritual vision on a man like that. Now, yeah, I guess there's more to say there, but there's a lot of questions here. So, what's up, Holly Golightly, Jai Sean, Steph Marco, Ron Haverin, Ricky, Raw Jules, Law of the Dance, Flytrap. How are you doing? All right, let's see what kind of questions we got here. Can NoFap cure my excessive shyness and make me better? Does it like empower each chakra point the longer you go on semen retention? Hyperbaric oxygen, I'm making a video in 5 days, so stay tuned. Instead of me talking about it here, I have an entire YouTube video devoted to it. Okay. There was something else I wanted to talk about there with. Okay, so more with the spaces of consciousness, right? We can make decisions in our life from a, okay. So the Gnostics were known for knowing, okay? Gnosticism, knowing. There's a knowingness in our heart and in our belly, okay? There's a knowingness deep within our body that it transcends all information. It transcends all logic, all reason. And it essentially is the ultimate way of making decisions in one's life is from your own clear fountain, they call it in the Clair Vision School. The clear fountain. It's your fountain, your pipeline to your spiritual forces. See, we all have high spiritual forces that have come, that are here aiding us on this journey. You know, you may think you're alone, but you're not. You have ancestors and you have archangels and all kinds of doctors and shamans and light workers and all kinds of beings up there that you're actually plugged into. Your soul is plugged into, or at least has the potential to plug into. And you can access these forces, and these forces are here for your greatest good. We're all plugged into dark forces as well, right? Going through trauma at a young age basically plugs us into dark forces. You hear time and time again when children, well, you may not hear this, but I hear this, you know, when children go through severe trauma, they literally will choose to invite an entity into their body because they're so unbelievably lonely that the dark is better than nothing, right? Choosing a dark entity for comfort is better than nothing. And it's kind of true, right? So we're all plugged into dark forces, and the objective of life is to unplug from the dark forces and to be able to not choose them and stay in the light, right? So we all have this potential pipeline of amazing, incredible forces of light that are here to aid us on our journey. And they are that system that we are most of the time closed down to, unless we're actively meditating, breathing, working on our third eye, detoxifying, loving ourselves, then we're able to plug into these forces of light. That is where we make amazing decisions from, especially now as we look at this time. One would go on a piece of paper and write pros to living in California, cons to living in California. Okay, there are a lot more cons than pros, therefore I'm going to leave California. That's like a very digital, logical way of making decisions, right? There's a whole other way of making decisions, of living life, of choosing partners, of choosing things, which is from the Gnostic, the knowing. What's your inner knowing? What's your deepest knowing? Do you feel like you should be in this place at this time? Do you feel like you should be working with that person, speaking to that person, dating that person, sleeping with that person, eating that food? Your own vessel, okay, guys, your own vessel, your third eye, your heart, your belly, your primal energy, all of this is a miraculous calculator that is kind of like the movie Avatar, where you're just this unbelievable alien-like creature who has the ability to touch things and look at things and be like, no, yes, oh, you're like an octopus. Okay, you're like, have you ever seen the movie, the new Netflix documentary about the octopus, My Friend the Octopus, or whatever, the octopus teacher? You see, the octopus has all these little tentacles, and that's how he learns about the human. He just puts the tentacles on it, and the octopus is feeling him. We are that. We are that, right? We've been trained to operate in this place. I will make a decision because it is the best decision. Yes, logically, I think it is the best decision to move out of California because the government is fucked and this and that and this and that. So we're stuck here, right? We're totally stuck here. And we're trained here. We're trained here. Imagine everything cut off, okay? We're trained here. This is a tiny little Casio watch, and the rest of us is an iPhone 11 Pro. And this iPhone 11 Pro can do so much more. And it knows, and it feels, and it has knowingness about everything. It has knowingness about food, about juicing, about supplements, about which to take, when to take it, okay? That is the ultimate sovereignty. When you tune in and you make a decision based on your own knowingness, that is empowerment. So this goes back to tuning into other people's spaces. When you feel someone's data coming in, you need to understand what's their data and what's the space. And you want to be able to feel both of that. Some people have amazing data. Their space sucks. That doesn't mean you throw it all away. Some people have horrible data. Their space is amazing. They just stand there and tell you, yes, you will be okay. Yes, I love you. They're enlightened, and you're just like, it feels so good to be in your presence. But their information coming is useless for your mind. They're saying, you should be more grateful. You should be more happy. Life is short, young one. Choose love, right? Their space is beautiful. Their data coming in is like, oh, okay. And that's when we get to choose the teachers that we listen to, choose the mentors, choose the health coaches, we figure out what's the space, what's the information, right? And a lot of times you want to be wise in these decisions. Like, why health advice from someone whose space doesn't feel healthy, right? Why take financial advice from someone who's broke, right? Sometimes, anyway, there's no answers there in like who to listen to and who not to. It's just something to be aware of, the data versus the space of consciousness that it comes from. Okay. How's that for a rant? Does that help you guys? Is that interesting at all? Or is that just preaching? It's very hot in here. Love some more health chat. Everybody wants health stuff. It's pretty awesome. Everybody's getting into their health. Okay, that's 51 minutes. It's like every time my flow ends, I know it's right around that 45, 50-minute mark when it's just like, okay, I could keep going, but then I don't think I could do one every day. Tell us about your thoughts on love and if true love exists. Thanks, Aunt Shelley. Sharing your point of view, not preaching. Self-empowerment is important. Agreed. Tell us your thoughts on love and if true love exists. Okay, we'll end with this question. So, love, I know your question is relating to relationships by the way you asked it, but we'll break it down. We'll break it down to its simplest words. So, love is a frequency, okay? And love is something that you can say it as many times as you want, but it's a feeling, okay? And it exists obviously in the heart, in the blood, in the DNA. It exists all throughout nature. Love is everything, okay? But love, when I lived in the Amazon jungle drinking ayahuasca, I remember distinctly it took about 10 ceremonies. And after those 10 ceremonies of saying, I love you, Josh, I love you, Josh, I love you, Josh, I finally got a glimpse into what it was like to love myself. See, I had felt love for a dog. I'd felt love for my mom. I'd felt love for family members to a degree. And why I say to a degree, because the way love is right now in this world is it's very intertwined with fear, right? It's totally intertwined with fear, and it's trauma. It's needy. It's a different kind of love. It's dirty love, right? Pure love is something that I had rarely ever experienced in my life. Love was always like, I remember love for me was like, I was so afraid that when my mom left the house that she would die. And that to me was love. Like the fact that I was so afraid of that she would die to me was, oh my God, I love my mom. That's how I experienced love. Okay. Sounds crazy, but I'm sure obviously there were other moments of deep love for my family, but my point is not about me and my personal journey. It's about love is an energy that needs a clear fountain to even exist. You can't have a toxic body and have love, no matter how good of a human being you are, no matter how well-intentioned you are. Love requires a runway to even land on, right? So my runway was filthy. And then after 10 ayahuasca ceremonies and crapping out 10 pounds of fecal matter, I finally accessed this portal inside my heart of pure love. And it was a frequency. And I began to feel this frequency in my blood, in my veins, in my hands, and everything I touched, I could touch with love. And I can speak to someone with love. And I can hug someone with love. And it was this givingness of my love inside to another. And that's maybe to some degree what some of you feel from my space. And that's maybe why you watch my channel, right? My information is kind of shit. So maybe you just like the vibration of love, right? I'm not swarming in it. There's other people who are way more loving than I am, but it does pretty much through my every word, through my every way of being, there's love. I feel it. I don't make a YouTube video if I'm not in a space of love. Rarely will I, right? So the love, okay, it requires a clean runway to land. Again, has no bearing on morality. It's not about if you're good or bad, or how bad you want to love, or how bad you say you love, or, saying I love you is, if it's not tethered to your love, the frequency of love is hollow. It means nothing, right? So the frequency of love, and they've even potentially measured it at a certain hertz, right, requires work to get to. And it actually requires unlearning. It requires slicing away all the bullshit. It requires self-love, choosing to love yourself, right? On a conceptual basis, intellectual basis, and eventually it fuses into your heart. You keep saying the word, and you keep putting your intentions on it, and eventually you feel it, right? So sauna, and I got to call my friend, and all these things, and I'm just spinning, and then drop into my heart. Oh, okay. That's what I was chasing, right? So that's where it all starts. Relationships can take us closer to that, but as long as we're dependent on that relationship, it's not sustainable. Okay. All right. So there's more there, but I'm just feeling the ending of the video, because I know for me to do it as often as I am doing it right now, I just have to give these punctual sort of bursts of energy. And then when it starts dropping, just let it go. So instead of grinding. So that's it, guys. That's another hour for you. Hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned. Make sure you check out all of my stuff. I sell a course, teach you everything you could possibly need to know about detoxification. I think it's the most badass detox course on the planet. And I'm about to make another one, even though I still think it's the best. I'm about to make a new one. That's it. It's going to take many, many months. So, and I'm working on it now. I obviously do coaching, and I'll hold a retreat at some point in person again. Subscribe to me on YouTube, Instagram. What's up, Brennan? Everyone go check out Embody Wellness Clinic in Folsom. That's where I'm going in 2 weeks to get my 5th sacroiliac joint injection. I've been doing epic, but I carried a 5-gallon carboy down. It's like 40 stairs, and I didn't hurt my back, but it's just not. I was at like 98% healed, and now I'm just feeling that 1 or 2 out of 10 pain, and I just want to wipe that out before I go do some world travels. All right. So, yeah. And Instagram at Detox Dudes, YouTube, The Detox Dudes. My website is thedetoxdudes.com. That's all I got for y'all. Peace. Peace. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're liking lives, if I should keep going. I need your comments to keep going. I need your feedback to keep going. All right.